So this is an interview that I saw for the first time in 2024, I believe, right before the presidential election. So probably, I think I seen it for the first time in October or November, and it's an interview with Tucker Carlson, and his guest is John Rich. John Rich is a prominent American country music singer, songwriter, and entrepreneur. He's a man of God, a man of faith, and it's an interesting interview. Talks about the book of Revelation, talks about end times, the mark of the beast. It's a long form interview. You can watch the whole interview if you just want to look it up online, but I'll share parts of it here today that I find to be interesting. So let's take a listen.
So when you texted me, when was that? When did you text me about that?
I sent you the audio of it probably 4 months ago.
So I'm not a musician or a musical performer or anything like that. So I don't, I have no idea what the market wants or anything like that. But when you said you'd written a song about Revelation, I was like, well, it's a legitimate book of the Bible, but it's the one that preachers don't teach, that no one really wants to read. And I'm thinking, that's so great. I couldn't wait to talk to you about it. But yeah, I didn't think that anyone.
It's an uncomfortable
book.
Want
to hear about it. So tell the story, like how. I've never heard of anybody doing something like that.
Right.
First of all, what is Revelation?
Revelation was written by the Apostle John at the end of his life, when he was basically a castaway at that point, and he started receiving visions and prophecies, and he wrote down what he saw. And a lot of what he saw, you got to remember, he only had his life experiences to try to describe what it was that he was seeing in these prophecies.
He was on an island, as I recall.
Yeah, Isle of Patmos. Yeah, and so he was writing this out as it was coming. Can you imagine what he must have felt like? No. What is that? What is that? Like, he's seeing all these things that are going to happen thousands of years in the future, and he's trying to describe it to us in the terms that he was familiar with. So, I mean, the book is absolutely incredible, and it's not just Revelation. Revelation ties back into Daniel, which was around thousands of years before John.
Yes.
It also ties into Matthew 24 and 2 Thessalonians 2 and 1 Corinthians and a lot of other places. People think that the whole end times discussion only resides in the book of Revelation, but that's not true.
So the book of Revelation tells the story of the end of history. That's my read.
It tells the story about the return of Jesus Christ.
Yes.
It says it's telling you what is going to happen prior to him coming back and what's going to happen after he comes back. Lays it out.
So how did you decide to write a song about a book of the Bible that most Christian preachers don't want to talk about?
I did not decide to write this song.
Huh.
Because first of all, how do you sing what's in Revelation? I mean, think about it, Last November, I'm at my house in Nashville, was not thinking about writing a song about anything. And out of nowhere, it felt like a hammer hit me in the back of the head. Boom, like that. Like, what is this? What is going on? What's this feeling? And this melody and these lyrics. Oh, Revelation, I can feel it coming like a dart train running. Oh, get ready, because the king is coming. The king is coming back again. I'm talking like that.
What's he talking about? Divine intervention, divine inspiration, being led by the Holy Spirit, right? When you get a premonition or you get an instinct, that you need to do something or act in a certain direction, and this is what he's talking about. So he wasn't planning to write this song. He wasn't planning to go in this direction. He was given this inspiration. He was given this mandate, right, to address these topics with his talents, right? He's been given these talents by God. This guy, John Rich, he's a prominent American country music singer, songwriter, and entrepreneur. He's had hit songs that you would know about all over the radio, played concerts, sold out arenas. He's a songwriter, an acclaimed songwriter. He's written hit songs for other artists as well. So this is a man that's been blessed with a tremendous gift and talent from God. And he's, like you said, he's going about his business, and boom, inspiration, mandate, direction, initiative, and when those moments come, it's on the individual to act on it, right? And in this case, he did.
And I went,
Where were you?
Okay, I was at home in Nashville,
Just sitting in your living room?
just chilling out. And I said, okay, I hear you. I grabbed a guitar off the wall, a pencil, a notebook, went and sat in a quiet room in the house, and in about 60 minutes, the entire song had come out. I sang it into my little voice notes on my iPhone, put my earbuds in, and walked around the house, just pacing around the house, listening to it over and over, and the hair is raising up on my arm.
Is this how, pardon my ignorance, but is this how songwriters write songs? Has this happened to you before?
No.
Is this...
No, nothing's ever... The only other song I ever wrote that felt like this was one called Earth to God that I wrote a few years ago. That was the same experience with that, but this one was more intense than that.
So intense inspiration, right? The process of writing this song was not his normal process, right? This is a man, again, that has written hit songs that have been played all over the radio. He's performed in sold-out arenas. He's huge in Nashville. He's written hit songs for other artists. This is not his process, right? He's not usually instantly hit with an inspiration or an idea or a mandate and then takes the initiative to act on it, and 60 minutes later he has completed an entire song, right? So this is different. It's only happened for him one other time, and again, that other time is also, it sounds like a faith-based song or a mandate, a divine inspiration. So it's an interesting way when God communicates with us instinctively, in the spirit inside of us. There's different ways that you can experience that. But in this case, he was just, going about his business on a regular day, and, boom, inspiration hits, mandate hits, and he acts on it.
When he hits you, you know it. It is, you cannot mistake when the Lord slaps you upside the head with something. You have a physical reaction to it. I do. I have a physical reaction to it. It does not happen very often. It's a very rare occurrence. But when it happens, listen, what I'm built to do is take a pencil and put the words on the paper, put music to that, and then project that out. That I've spent my whole career getting to a point where I'm pretty good at that.
See, what's he saying? And in Scripture, if you read the parable of the talents that Jesus Christ talks about, he's good at that. That's his talent. That's his gift, right? He's built to do this. So think about in your life, what are you built to do? What is your skill set? What are you good at? And then listen and look for ways that you may be prompted to apply your skill set and your talent for the glory of God.
Except this message is beyond, and it's incredible that it hit me when it did in this period of time.
So you felt like you were channeling this?
I felt like he slammed it right through me. And as I'm walking around listening to it, and the hair's raising up on my arms, I remember looking out the window, and I looked up and I went, what do you want me to do with this?
See what he said? Don't miss that. He said he felt like God slammed it right through him, right? It was unmistakable, right? It wasn't something that he was thinking about. He wasn't questioning. It was just unmistakable. The mandate, the calling to use his gifts and his talents in a certain and particular type of way, it was unmistakable.
I mean, what do you want me to do? And the message I felt coming back to me was take it all the way to the mat. That's the phrase that hit me, meaning make the audio as great as you can with your skill set, make the video as compelling as you possibly can. And when you get those things done, tell as many people as you can. Slam it out there with no fear, as hard as you possibly can, and let this thing be heard. That is your job. Go do it.
So you're describing a creative process in which you're kind of like not driving the train at all.
At all. No, because I didn't come up with the song. I did not lay out some marketing strategy for the song. I was given instructions as to what to do with it. And listen, it's an unnerving thing to write a song like that, to sing it, and then put it out there in front of God and everybody, especially in the way the world thinks and operates today. That's not what a popular artist would do. I mean,
well, again, I don't know anything about this world, but when you told me that, I didn't even think about, would anyone download that song? And then as of this morning, it's one of the top downloads in the country.
It's in all genres. It's in the top 5-ish right now of all genres of downloaded songs. It's battling people like Eminem, who I looked up his record just to see what Eminem's doing. One of the titles on his record is just called Evil. One is called Lucifer, and one is called Antichrist. How crazy is that? And so I see Eminem and Revelation. Of course, he's got the entire machine behind.
So, so his hit song that is divine inspiration from God, and comes about from a process that is not normal to his songwriting process, and he's a legendary country music artist, is now at the top of the charts, rivaling other artists that are mainstream artists. And when you look at the contrast, he's saying like the other artist is putting out completely evil music. And it's just, it's interesting to hear that and to see that.
On him, I don't have anybody. I don't have any physical machine behind me. And so to watch those two songs sitting there coexisting was a pretty
When
striking.
you say machine, to people who aren't in the music business, like maybe they don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about?
Massive record labels, massive radio play, massive budgets to push and promote and manipulate media and get his song out there.
What is your record label doing for you?
My record label?
Yeah.
My record label is a P.O. box called Rich Records, LLC.
So you don't
I'm the president, founder, and employee.
So you don't have anybody pushing this song?
Nope. Just the people that hear it, and if the song strikes them, they push it forward to whoever's following them.
So before we get into what the song is actually about, will you just describe, like, how do you roll something like this out if you don't have publicists, record label, if you don't have the machine? How do you do that?
I do have a publicist. So Jules has been with me a long time. So when it's time to roll, she'll call people and go, "Hey, John's got the song Revelation. Would you interview him about it?" So we do that. We go out and talk to people and, come talk to you. But beyond that, nothing. You just post it. I posted it on my X account at John Rich. And I went up there and I said, "This is the most important song I've ever written. It's called Revelation. I hope it brings courage to the saved, conviction to the lost, and absolute fear to the truly wicked." That was the post. And within about 48 hours, it's now battling some of the biggest artists in the world. That's all I said.
That's just absolutely incredible. And that's it?
It's kind of a David versus Goliath in a sense, because he is very organic in his process when he releases a song, right? He does have a very well-established background with hit songs, and he is very prominent in the industry, in the country music industry, and in Nashville, right? But he's very organic in his approach to the way he promotes his music and releases it, right? As he contrasted that versus he said, for example, like artists like Eminem that have record labels and massive budgets to advertise, promote, and he's very organic and he just kind of puts it out there in the way he puts it out there. And as you can see, he was obedient to the mandate and the inspiration that he felt came clearly from the Holy Spirit or clearly from God. He was given a clear direction. He did his part. He used his gifts and his talents. He put it out there, and then he kind of let go and let God. And God took it to the top. And God took it to the top to rival other artists. And it's interesting that he compares to the other artists' song labels or song names on the other artists' album that are just completely evil. So you see how you can kind of see it as you slow it down. You can kind of see how God is working, right? And once you have eyes to see now you can apply that to your life. It's almost like pattern recognition. So you see in this scenario, how did God work, right? God brought inspiration. God brought a mandate. God brought a calling that John Rich says and describes as he felt like God slammed it through him, right? God worked right through him with his gifts and his talents. And it's just, it's interesting to see, as you see and you slow it down, how it worked and the way the process worked for him. In this scenario, you can look at other aspects of your life and you can recognize and you can see, if you have eyes to see, you'll see God working around you, right? and it's interesting that we're able to do that if you have the eyes to see it and you have the ears to hear it, and you're aware. It's an awareness thing.
Nothing else.
That's it. Then the song and that video does its thing. It's got the boss's hand on it. He gave it to me. He told me to write it, so I did, and he told me to go put it out there, so I did. It's on him now.
What do you think the message? So
you see what he said? He said it's got the boss's hand on it. It's on him now. In other words, right? He felt compelled. He had a mandate. He had a divine inspiration. He did his part. He used his talents and his gifts, and then he let go and let God. He said the boss mandated it, and then, hey, it's on him now. I did my part, and then he was just talking about God took it right to the top of the charts, right? So there's that piece too, right? If you recognize God's working, whether it's in you and through you or in you and around you, at a certain point after you've done your part, just kind of let go and let God, and God will do the rest.
You basically have said that you didn't write the song came through you.
That's correct. And that may sound like some kind of weird thing for people to hear, but that is exactly what happened. I'm not capable of writing lyrics like that. And first of all, they're not really lyrics. They come right off the pages of the book, man. I mean, I just made it rhyme. I just made what John talked about in Revelation. I just crafted them so where they would rhyme.
Don't miss this. This is what he's getting at in this discussion right here. God is spirit, right? God is spirit, right? And he works in us and he works through us. And in Scripture it says that our bodies are like temples, right? Our body is a temple, and God is spirit, right? So God works in and through the temple, works in and through us, if we allow it, right? It's an opportunity to partner with God, and to offer up your talents and your gifts, and then you can see powerful things happen in you and through you and around you, and based on what your talents are. You have to recognize, what are my gifts, what are my talents. And then when you feel a mandate, like he feels a mandate that's so strong, he says he feels like God slammed it through him, right? But he allowed it, though. You still also have to allow that process to happen. He still had to respond to that initiative and respond to that prompting, that premonition. He still had to sit down. Like he said, he sat down for 60 minutes and hashed out the song, sang it into his iPhone notes. He did his part. He used his gifts and his talents, and not even according to any process that he typically goes through when he writes hit songs, right? But he did it. He did his part.
And become a song. But the entrance of the song says, dancing in the flames, the people cursed his name, talking about Jesus, and bowed at the altar of the father of lies. But there's a number to their days and all their evil ways. The Lord's going to turn away from all their cries, meaning at the end. And what that's talking about is when you watch the Super Bowl halftime show, or you watch the Grammy Awards, or you watch some of these big concerts and music videos where they are putting satanic symbolism right in your face. They are practicing witchcraft on the stage right in front of you. You're watching a football game or an award show and with your kids, and now whammo, straight evil coming straight at you. We've all seen this now. Somebody has to counter that. These guys have all these massive budgets, the entertainment value, the ability to produce those things at such a high level. It's impossible to look away from it. It's like boom, pow, huge special effects, all this stuff, and everybody's just mesmerized, and it's going right into them. So on Revelation...
Wait, can I just ask you to pause?
Yeah, go ahead.
I actually haven't seen any of that because I don't have TV, but I've read that this happens.
Yeah.
Why? Why are they pushing Satan worship on television?
Because they're doing the work of their father, just like I am.
Wow. And there's kind of no denying. I mean, they're not getting richer by pushing satanic symbols.
Sure they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the industry, the way those movie industries, music industries, all of that. Now, not everybody in those industries obviously is, some kind of a Satan worshiper or something, but there's a lot of that in there. And they have spent decades programming us from a young age to think those things are fine and normal, and they get rewarded for that. You know, people that really serve the father of lies, they get rewarded by him when they proclaim his word and do what he tells them to do. And so Revelation is the other side of that. That's why I went to such extremes with this video, because I wanted it to compete visually with what people are used to seeing. I didn't want it to be like some one-dimensional looking thing. I wanted it to be up to the level to what people are used to seeing. If we're going to combat, if we're going to present both sides, play at a high level, bring it at a high level. And that's why we went so far with it.
It's so interesting to see the way you're framing this. So you're framing it very differently. It's not just that the media and entertainment businesses are liberal or in the pocket of the Democratic Party. You're saying that they're pushing a theology on the country.
100%. No doubt about it. You know, the devil, he's scared to death of Jesus Christ. I mean, it says in the scripture, resist the devil and he will flee from you. Flee, like wet his pants and run out the door if you deny him. If you go, nope. Of course, with Jesus in you, you go, get out of here. And he will. He'll take off running. And so you're not supposed to have fear of him. The only one you're supposed to fear if you're a Christian is not the ones who can kill your body. It says, don't fear the ones who can kill your body. Fear the one who can kill your body and kill your soul.
Don't miss that. That's important. Don't fear man who can kill the body, but fear God who can kill both the body and the soul, right? Can completely eradicate or wipe out. And it's a hard concept to deal with when you're living in a mortal reality, right? Physical pain is something that people do not want to face, and death is something that people fear. But this is a great point that he's making.
Meaning the creator, the boss, Jesus Christ, the Trinity. And so I look at this situation as, man, if he's going to hit me with this song, and trust me, it makes me nervous. I'm a little nervous right now, just sitting here talking about it. But if he's going to task me with that, someday when I go see him, I'm gonna have to answer for a lot of things I didn't do right. But I hope this is one where he goes, but you did a good job on that one, because I gave you the song, I told you what to do with it, and you did it. You put it out there.
When you say these things, you're not saying them as someone who's guessing. I mean, you've been in the entertainment business your whole life.
Right. What he's also saying, too, he's acknowledging, like, he's not perfect, right? So this is an important point, too, and don't miss it, right? He's saying, like, you know, look, when I go to heaven someday, when I stand before God and I'm judged, my life is judged, my choices are judged, my actions are judged. And we know in Scripture it says judgment starts in the house of the Lord, right? Judgment starts with believers, right? So we're held to a higher standard, and when that day comes and when he's being judged, you know, hey, there's going to be some things that, you know, we've all sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, right? We've all made bad choices. He's not saying that God worked through him with this song and with this this call because he's perfect, right? He's not perfect. This doesn't make him perfect or special, but he's hoping that you know, his obedience is one day looked at and judged favorably, positively, right? Like a little bit of recognition or kudos, like, well done, good job.
30 years since you were a kid, I think.
19, yep.
19. So, I mean, you know how it works. Again, this is not something that you read, it's something you've seen. When did it become clear to you that this was a theology, that these people were working knowingly or not on behalf of evil, actual evil? Like, when did that dawn on you?
Well, they got so arrogant with it, it seems like in maybe the last less than 10 years. I don't know what happened on their side, but I guess they got the green light to go all the way in. And that's when you started seeing, for instance, Grammy Award performances where people are literally coming out wearing satanic symbols. They are carrying out, I guess they were mock seances, but I mean, it looked pretty real to me. And all of this stuff started happening. Even some of your biggest artists in the world during their live concerts in full of giant stadiums, full of people, are doing these things out on the stage. In between their hit songs, they'll come out as just part of the production of the show. It's art. It's just art. I mean, go look at, there's a rapper named Lil Nas out there. And trust me, everybody watching, you won't know, but everybody watching this, most people will know what I'm talking about. When you see him giving a lap dance to the devil in his video. Straight up. And they are not ashamed about it. You look at Eminem's new record where the titles are Lucifer, Antichrist, Evil. This is out right now. So I don't know what happened on their side to go pedal to the metal with it, but they absolutely did. So on the other side of that, what are we supposed to do in response to that? Just yell at it, scream at it, be disgusted by it? You can do all those things.
Well, the first thing you're doing is naming it. You're naming it. Which I think is so interesting. You're calling it what it is. You're not falling for the lie, which is this is just art.
Right.
It's more than that. I mean, maybe it's art. Right. We can debate that, but it's certainly more than that. This is a theology. You're pushing a religion on me.
Yeah.
And it's a religion of darkness and lies.
Right. And they're pushing the same their same theology, because it is that, on our kids. They're pushing it in schools. They're pushing it in pop culture. They're pushing it everywhere you turn around. You can't get away from it. I mean, we're inundated with it right now. We are swimming in what these people have put out there.
It's just really important to know what you're dealing with and to say it out loud. And
yes.
I think if you had said that to me 5 years ago, I would have thought, well, really like John Rich, a little far out. But now,
nothing I'm saying right now. Anybody that's had a TV set on in the past year knows what I'm talking about.
It's just beyond. Thank you for saying that. So tell us about Revelation. You said Revelation is the story of Jesus coming back.
Right.
What's in it exactly? Because I think even a lot of Christians haven't read it carefully, don't understand it, don't want to confront it. What is it?
So in this song and in this video, what it is talking about is what the real war is.
The Lord's gonna turn away from all their cries. Revelation, I can feel it coming like a dark train running. Get ready, 'cause the King is coming. The King is coming back again.
The real war is not Trump and Biden. The real war is not left and right. The real war is not culture war. It says in Ephesians, we wrestle not with flesh and blood, but with principalities and powers and the rulers of spiritual darkness of this earth, of this world. That is the battle. That's the real battle.
That's the game right there. We just talked about a little while ago, right? Like God is spirit and he works in us and through us, and our bodies are like temples, right? Evil works in a very similar way, right? It's spiritual forces of darkness, and they work in us and through us, right? We're not wrestling against each other, flesh and blood. We're wrestling against these spiritual forces of good and evil that work in us and through us. And our choices are going to dictate which one that's going to be.
And they say, in the Bible it says you can't see that because there's a thin veil between the physical and the spiritual and what's going on just on the other side of the veil. But when you read Daniel and you read Revelation, it says at some point that veil will be torn, which my song talks about that. And when that veil is torn, you'll be able to see what's going on the other side of that. And so in the video, you see the devil come blasting through a fiery portal out in the woods of Tennessee on one side of a little country church on a black horse, and he starts running, and he looks nasty. It's Nick Searcy, by the way, the actor, my good friend. He plays the devil. He's one of the nicest guys you ever met, so it's funny that he's the devil, but he plays a good one. And on the other side of that church out in the woods in Tennessee, this massive beam of energy comes crashing down to the ground, and the trees go like this. And out of that blast comes Michael the Archangel, and he pulls a broadsword out of his sheath. And he grits his teeth, and this guy's got muscles. That's Hollywood Yates, my buddy from California. He comes walking straight towards the devil, and they're coming like this, and I'm standing in the middle. I'm humanity, and here's evil, and here's righteousness, and they are about to clash. And the point of that is to put into people's mind a representation of what is spiritual warfare. I wonder what it actually looks like. And I did the best job I could trying to depict that. But when you see those scenes, I think that's one reason why this song is doing what it's doing, because to my knowledge, nobody's ever even approached this subject in the world of music or video.
Amazing. So why is Revelation so hard for people to grasp, to read, to understand?
So for thousands of years, the prophecies in Revelation and Daniel and other places seemed like such science fiction to people. They just couldn't understand how these things are even possible, including my own dad, who's been preaching since he was about 19. He's in his early 70s now. And he said, yeah, John, just never could understand how some of these things were possible. For instance, the mark of the beast. How is it possible, we would all say, that you could track every human being in the world and know where they are and how they get their money and where they spend their money? I mean, that's just impossible. And here we sit going, oh no, they're tracking us right now. They know exactly where we spend our money and where we get our money. Because it says you won't be able to buy or sell unless you have the mark of the beast. You could replace the word beast with system.
Revelation.
And they're not just tracking our spending. I mean, society and technology, Silicon Valley, they're tracking everything. Our movements, our cars have GPS in them. All of that history is tracked. Some cars have OnStar in them. Those vehicles are literally tracked in real time. Our phones, these phones that we have, Apple iPhones and Androids, are literally tracking devices. They spy on us. They listen to us through these phones. They spy on our text messages. They spy on our search history in Google search, and they spy on our activity in ChatGPT and AI. They're constantly listening, spying, and tracking. And they're developing, I believe, it started out probably as an attempt to develop these systems for countries like China that are communist countries who need to track and control and suppress billions of people in their countries that they manage in order to maintain power and control their power, right? So they've been trying to figure out, like, hey, how do we do this at scale, which is the most dangerous part, right? So they're helping these, I believe, Silicon Valley is helping these evil countries that are communist countries, that are dictator, tyranny-focused countries, learn how to use technology to track and control and suppress and essentially have the capability to flip a switch and turn someone's entire life off, right? Their ability to buy, to sell, to use credit, to drive a car, to have an apartment, to have a job, whatever it is. It's an attempt to control so that they can control and keep their power and not have any challenge to their power or to their throne, right? You think about a country like China that has, 5 billion people, right? Try to think about that at scale versus a country like the United States of America that has 350 to 400 million people, right? Less than half of a billion people. And they have 4 or 5 or 6 billion people. They have too many people, and they're trying to control and suppress and monitor and spy on and protect their power from all of these people. And so the danger is that when these big communist countries, they learn how to control billions of people, well, then why don't they just scale it out? There's only a couple billion more people on the entire planet. Let's say there's 9 billion people on the planet, and let's say 5 billion are in China, and there's 2 billion in India. The rest of the planet, there's only 2 billion people, right? So like if one or two big countries decide that they're going to use technology to suppress and control and have power over their billions of people, well, the next step is like, well, why don't we just scale it out and just the whole world should be under this system, right? Because most of the world is. They can't have, you can't have billions of people under the tyranny of communism and of dictatorship and of these types of systems, and then have a couple billion people that are kind of outside of that bubble that can do whatever they like. In America, we our freedoms, right? Freedom of speech, the right to bear arms. We have freedoms that the rest of the world doesn't have, and they're going to want to just scale out that system and suppress all of us under that. Is what I kind of, that's how I see it going forward. And these companies right now, led by Silicon Valley, led by companies like Apple, they're already tracking us, tracking what we spend, how we spend, where we go, what we say, what we search. They're already doing it. I think they beta tested on Americans, and so that they can sell it to countries like China that will use it at scale. And it's a slippery slope. And it's interesting because I feel like a lot of Americans can kind of see it happening and see it coming with AI in real time, and we really don't know what to do about it. We don't know how to stop it. We don't know who to hold accountable. And there's really, at this time, there's nobody really holding Silicon Valley accountable. There's no one really holding tech companies accountable. They seem to operate with impunity outside of the system.
It says that.
Oh yeah, without the mark,
You won't be able to buy or sell.
unless you bear the mark of the beast. And when you go back and look that up in the Hebrew, it's talking about the global power that's in place at that point, the system that is in place.
Traditionally, think tanks do a lot of thinking, and the Heritage Foundation still does that, but it also, thankfully,